Right, so we now move on to chapter 42, Ashura. This chapter was named because of the mutual consultation which was described. As I said before, the name is not divine, it simply helps us identify it. When we say chapter 42, people are not likely to understand it. When we say Ashura, it's more likely to be understood. So this Shura is a theme of the verse, but I do believe that the opening itself is more indicative of what we can expect. This chapter has 2 lines of the Muqatta'at, Ha Mim Ain Sin Qaf. Inshallah, we will do a presentation on the Muqatta'at at some point as well, but here we just have to leave it as that. Ha Mim Ain Sin Qaf. كذلك يوحي إليك وإلى الذين من قبلك الله العزيز الحكيم. And like so, it is referring back to Muqatta'at now. And like so, we inspired on you as we inspired to those before you. Allah is the most exalted, the most decisive. Then it says, له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العلي العظيم. To him belongs to what is in the heavens and the earth. Then it continues talking about Allah. Verse 6, those who take protectors other than Allah. Again reminds us of chapter 7's opening, which also talks about taking protectors other than Allah. So chapter 7 said to follow revelation. This chapter is probably telling us the same thing. So now we come to verse 6, which talks about وَالَّذِينَ أَتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ, those who take for protectors other than Allah. Allahu Hafizun alayhim, Allah is keeping watch over them. And وَمَا أَنْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِوَكِيلٍ, you are not a disposer of their affairs. It's talking to the reader now. Then it says, وَكَذَّلِكَ, and like that, أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا, we descended or we inspired to you a faultless Qur'an. لِتُنذِرَ أُمَّ الْقُرَى, that you may warn the mother of the cities, وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا, and that around her. So what is this al-Qura? It was talking about the center of human civilization. The Quran is in faultless language because it must be able to speak to the highest level of human intelligence, and that's in the al-Qura. So here we can see that the language of the Quran is impeccable. It must be able to speak to people on that high level. Then it continues and says, if God wills, He would have made you a single ummah. But no, diversity is allowed. So here the Quran must be applied in those diverse conditions as well, which talks about the application or disclosure of ad-deen. Now, ad-deen is not something which you can apply chock-a-block. Yeah, you read the Quran and suddenly you apply the deen and that's it, you're done. No. The deen is a very organic entity, and this organic entity can only be applied with the disclosure of reality which has been made available to you. And that disclosure is called Sharia. Obviously the Quran's definition is different from the traditional definition. We're not going to get into that now. But this is what it says. شَرَعَ لَكُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا وَصَّى بِهِ نُوحٌ وَالَّذِينَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ وَمَا وَصَّيْنَا بِهِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ, etc., etc. شَرَعَ لَكُم, we have disclosed for you min ad-deen, from the deen, ma wasa bihi Nuh, that we related or we enjoined on with it Nuh, and the other personalities are mentioned. Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, and Isa are mentioned. Traditionally, these are known as the Ulul Azm prophets, or they're somehow elevated over the others. But here conceptually we can see that they are related to the Sharia. Next verse talks about the division in Sharia, just like chapter 6 verse 159. How do you divide the Sharia? Well, you break up the teachings and you start committing shirk, as opposed to doing what Ibrahim did, which is to be fully inclined, Hanifa. So instead of doing that, what do you do? Verse 15 tells you, كَذَلِكَ is used a lot. فَلِكَذَلِكَ فَأَدْعُ, so call, وَأَسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ, and establish as you are commanded. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا أَهْوَاهُمْ, and do not follow their desires. وَقُلْ آمَنْتُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ, and say, I have believed in what has been descended by Allah, min kitab, from book, not from the book, from book. So what is the book? Well, we've seen in chapter 41, kitabun unzila fihi, kitabun fusilat ayatuhu. This is the Quran here, talking about the Quran. So then the Sharia is mentioned again in verse 21, which talks about the shuraka, or the partners, shara'u lahu. So shuraka are the partners which we associate with Allah, and they have somehow, and these people, Allah is asking us, have these people given us a disclosure? And no, they haven't. We only have disclosures of reality from Allah. So it is by interacting with these realities that we can act upon them, as verses 13 to 15 showed us above. So how do we act as the earlier bit of this chapter commands us? For example, well, it starts from verse 36. It says, whatever you are given is a convenience in this life, but that which is with God is better and more lasting. وَأَبْقَى خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى, better and more lasting, for those who believe and put their trust in thy Lord. How do you put the trust in your Lord? Following Revelation. That's chapter 7, verses 2 to 3. So we can see a deep connectedness being put forward here. Then it continues and says, those who avoid the greater crimes and shameful deeds, fawahish, وَإِذَا مَا غَضِبُهُمْ يَغْفِرُونَ, and when they are angry, they protect against it. The anger, they protect against that state. وَالَّذِينَ أَسْتَجَبُوا لِرَبِّهِمْ, and they hearken to their Lord, they react to their Lord. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ, so this is as-salat, as we can see, putting trust in Allah, avoiding greater crimes and shameful deeds. These are all part of your salat. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ, and they have mutual consultations in their affairs. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and they spend out of what we provided for them. That's from chapter 2, verse 3. So here we can see the connection here. Ashura is now reflecting on the earlier chapters. So we come to the end of the chapter, and the end of the chapter, I believe is the more powerful element. It's now dealing with revelation, and I believe that we can understand the nature of dhukranan wa untha, or the so-called male and female, by this particular passage. It goes with lillahi mulku samawati wal ard yakhluqu man yasha yahabu liman yasha inathan wa yahabu liman yasha adh-dhukur. To him belongs, to Allah belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He creates what he wills. He bestows female, and he bestows male according to his will. So it doesn't say child here, it says male or female. So here we need to understand the mystical principle perhaps of male and female. Yeah? And then it continues and says, أَوْ يُزَوِّجُهُمْ ذُكْرَانًا وَإِنَاثًا, or he pairs the male and female. وَيَجْعَلُ مَنْ يَشَاءَ عَقِيمًا, or he leaves barren that whom he wills. إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ قَدِيرٌ, and he bestows knowledge and capacity. So here we're beginning to see a different aspect of male and female here. Then it says, وَمَا كَانَ لِبَشَرٍ أَن يُكَلِّمُ اللَّهِ, and it is not fitting for a bashar that God should speak to him. Remember that the bashar is taught a faulty language. That is in chapter 16, verse 103. So now it's talking about the bashar again, that God should speak to him. أَن يُكَلِّمَهُ اللَّهِ إِلَّا وَحْيًا, except by wahi, أو من وراء hijab, or from behind a veil, أو يرسل رسولا فيوحي بإذنه من يشاء, or by sending a messenger to reveal with God's permission what he wills. So he is talking various modes of revelation now. وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا. كَذَلِكَ again is being repeated. So the Quran is now building analogies for us to understand the process of revelation. وَكَذَلِكَ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحٍ مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. Verily we have by our command sent the ruh. مَا كُنْتَ تَدْرِي مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَلَا الْإِيمَانِ. You did not know what was the book or the faith وَلَكِنْ جَعَلْنَهُ نُورٍ. And verily we made it a light. نَهْدِي بِهِ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. We guide with it who we will. مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. From our servants. وَإِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. And verily you guide them to the straight path. Remember that the Prophet is not a guide on the straight path. He may point them to the straight path, but he does not guide them on the straight path. That is something we need to bear in mind. Then it says Sirat Allah, the path of Allah. So here we see that Allah is a predicate of the phrase Sirat Allah. Why? Because Sirat Allah shows the ultimate path. So the ultimate path is this process which is going on. Yeah, from verse 49 all the way to verse 53. It says, to whom belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. ألا إلا الله تسير الأمور. And whatever is on the heavens, on the earth, is tending towards Allah. So that's it. That's chapter 42. Chapter 42 is about the utilization of revelation in life for our personal development and how we can observe revelation coming in action in our lives. So I hope you've benefited from this presentation. Inshallah, tomorrow it'll be a bit lighter. We're doing Zukhruf and Dukhan, chapters 43 to 44 as part of our Hamim series. And I hope you have a pleasant evening. Bye.